Hi, I wanted to tell you about the largest, most complete compilation of Colorado marijuana law on the internet. I'm Barry Smith. I go by Legal Bear on the internet. Sometime around 1990, I heard from the creator. He told me to get a computer, learn how to use it, and start studying law full time. I estimate that I studied law 40 hours a week for roughly 10 years. I ended up with 7 large boxes full of photocopies of everything that I copied and highlighted and underlined in the law library. I got really skilled at doing legal research. Sometime in the mid 90s, I teamed up with a professional cameraman, a video producer, and we made we made a video about how to do legal research in the law library. I had a friend who was a professional paralegal, spent a good part of her life working in law offices, and when she saw the video, she was like, they should have used that at my paralegal school. Then I got a notice that the continuing legal education class was having a legal research on the internet program. And so I went down there to learn how to do legal research on the internet for the first time ever. I think that happened some way about 1997. It was about 1998 that I started doing all my legal research on the internet. And I also made a how to do a legal research on the internet video as well. One of my law buddies from Florida, when he learned where I was in Colorado, he says, "Oh, you're just down the road from somebody that I know that's a lawyer from Florida. She moved to Colorado to get involved in the medical marijuana and the marijuana business." And so I ended up giving her a call, and she was telling me all about why she came to Colorado and get involved in marijuana, legal marijuana and stuff. And she had a real estate background. She had been helping real estate investors do their deals and property management type things and so forth. And so when I told her that I had a friend who needed to um, cash flow some more rundown properties and stuff, she was like, marijuana would be perfect for that. A lot of these people that have their medical marijuana cards, they need a place to grow their marijuana. And if he owns those, we can rent it out to those people. And so the two of them ran an ad on Craigslist, and they ended up meeting what came to be known as the farm boy, a young man that came from Florida also, and he was looking for a place to grow his medical marijuana. In the process of getting to know him, I asked him, how'd you learn, marijuana law or pot law? His reply was, on the net. Well, he's probably 1/3 my age, or he is 1/3 my age. And that, I was like, you know what? I don't think he studied pot law because having worked with the law so long, I know that that was sort of a glib answer. He probably should have said something more like, well, I visited the statutes online and I read all about this or that. I looked at the Colorado Constitution, and it just didn't seem to me like that was a very promising answer. So he went to see a medical doctor to get his plant count increased on his medical marijuana. He held in his hand the sort of the doctor's recommendation with respect to how many plants he could have, and told me that that was all he needed, that he didn't need, that if he had those, he was just fine. And he didn't need to send that anywhere or do anything with that. He just needed to have that doctor's recommendation with him. Well, when I started doing this research on Colorado marijuana law, come to find out that I come to a case where somebody, all they had was the doctor's recommendation. See, in Colorado, they can't prescribe marijuana because that would lose them their status as a medical doctor on a federal basis, which is how they are able to do prescriptions. So if they prescribe marijuana, they violate federal law, and then they wouldn't be able to be a doctor anymore. So they have to give a recommendation. So at any rate, I came across this case where somebody had the doctor's recommendation and they didn't have their medical marijuana card, and that resulted in charges. The law is that you have to forward that on into the state, and then the state sends you back your medical marijuana card that has your recommended plant count on it. And so there is the first example of the farm boy not knowing what the law was. So then I came to find out that the farm boy loaded a bunch of pot in his car and went driving around with it. Well, I get to researching Colorado law, and it turns out that there is this very strict limit on who can have how much pot. There's so much, you can have so much recreational pot, you can have so much medical marijuana pot with you, and you have to have a license if you're going to be transporting pot, or you have to be what's known as a caregiver, and you have to have that pot for the people that you're providing the caregiving to. In other words, you have to have, let's see, state permission to be the caregiver and then to have that pot with you. If you have a large amount of marijuana with you, you're getting charges. And, so the farm boy, he didn't know that either. So then the property owner that wanted to rent those properties, myself and an investor and someone who had a medical marijuana card who wanted to grow, needed a place to grow their medical marijuana, we all met at a restaurant. And I sat there as the medical marijuana grower explained to us all with a certain air of authority that you could not make concentrate in Colorado using butane, but it was legal to make concentrate some other way than butane. And boy, he sounded like he knew what he was talking about. And, here's the property owner, here's the investor. They're both listening to him like he knows what's going down. Well, I start doing this legal research, and I come across a case where somebody, I think there was a couple of them. One of them went to a Colorado appellate court, and the court was asked, can this medical marijuana grower be making concentrate? And the court comes back with their ruling, and they said no. Only licensed dispensaries, so that'd be medical marijuana or recreational dispensaries, can make concentrate. A medical marijuana grower is against the law for him to make concentrate. So there's another example of, somebody talking like they knew the law and they really didn't. So then, come to find out that marijuana in the States has an effect on property owners and landlords. There was somebody that I came across in the annotations when I was studying the statutes. There was somebody that went to federal court. They were seeking bankruptcy. They owned a property, like a commercial, like a shopping center or whatever, and they had put a dispensary in there for marijuana. And they wanted to file for bankruptcy, and the court came back and said, we can't do it. And the reason we can't is because the bankruptcy trustee might end up having to manage that asset, the property that has marijuana being dispensed from it. And that's illegal under federal law, and so we can't give you a bankruptcy. So property owners need to know what the laws are as well, because it could have an effect on them. Who needs this Colorado pot law legal research package? Anybody who's either involved in or considering involvement in medical marijuana growers and users, caregivers, physicians, retail or medical marijuana dispensaries, investors, law enforcement, anybody who thinks that hey, we'll grow it like medical marijuana and then we'll sell it on the black market. If it makes any sense at all, if you're going to be breaking the law, you need to know what laws you're breaking. I mean, if a cop comes up, you don't want to be saying something to him that's illegal and you don't know it. Attorneys. There's a need for authorized laboratories in Colorado. They have various reasons to be testing the marijuana in order to comply with state law and stuff, and laboratories need to know what the law is as well. And anybody who thinks they want to have occasion to be transporting pot. In Colorado, there are actually uh, two kinds of people that are authorized to transport pot. One is somebody that went to the state and got a license to transport pot, and then the other is caregivers. They have authority to be moving the pot around to the people who they're taking care of. Beyond that, anybody else has these very small amounts that they're allowed to transport around. So anybody that wants to transport pot needs to know what the law is. Here are some other services that I'm offering. I'm offering daily email updates on Colorado pot law developments. I'm offering research for your particular pot project within Colorado law. So in other words, if you go, we want to be a medical marijuana dispensary, Barry, tell us which laws apply to medical marijuana dispensaries. Or say you want to be a caregiver. I could look up all the laws that pertain to caregiving, and so then you wouldn't have to dig through the package to find those things. I would just isolate it out and give you, this is what you need to know. And I also offering to do legal research on other states' pot laws. If you'll check with this video, there is a PDF where, as I did this research, I made a compilation of the 118 things that you will learn from this Colorado pot law research package. So look for the PDF file that's with this video to find out what those things are. To order the research package or any other services, see the description that's with this video.